Let's tackle about Land Reform Act of 1955, Republic Act number 1400. Land Reform Act of 1955 or the Land to the Landless program sought to expropriate and redistribute large estates. The law created the Land Tenure Administration or LTA, which was responsible for the acquisition and distribution of large tenanted rice and corn lands over 300 hectares for individuals and 600 hectares for corporations. Intended learning outcomes. After having gone through a lesson, the student will be able to 1. Discuss the importance of the creation of land tenure administration. 2. Make a process map for land tenure administration and how to act on the petition. And 3. Determine loopholes of Land Reform Act of 1955. Now let's proceed to salient features of Land Reform Act of 1955, Republic Act number 1400, Creation of Land Tenure Administration or LTA. The LTA was created to manage, distribute, and regulate agricultural lands in the Philippines to ensure fair ownership and to reduce landlessness. It acts as the implementing body for land reform, ensuring that large estates are redistributed and that farming families can own reasonable-sized plots of land. Next is issuance of negotiable land certificates. This explains that the President can issue negotiable land certificates upon request of the Land Tenure Administration or LTA. These certificates, valued at 1,000 pesos or its multiples, are payable to the bearer on demand at the central bank. Holders of these certificates can use them for various purposes such as paying for agricultural lands or other government properties, purchasing shares or assets of government-owned corporation, settling tax obligations or debts to the government, and serving as surety or performance bonds. Essentially, negotiable land certificates act as a form of government-backed financial instrument that can be used in place of cash for specific transactions.
Land subject to the purchase. This section explains that the government, through the Land Tenure Administration or LTE, can buy privately owned agricultural lands if most of the tenants request it. Once the tenants file a petition, the LTE studies the land. They check if it's suitable for purchase, assess its value, and conduct negotiations with the landowner. This process is done within a set time period: 30 days for initial action, 60 days for investigation, and 90 days for final negotiation. In short, this ensures that farmers can request the government to buy land fairly and properly. Payment or Section 14. When the government purchases agricultural land, payment can be made in several ways. It can be paid fully in land certificates or partly in cash and partly in certificates. However, the cash portion cannot exceed 50% of the total price. Sometimes, the government may also pay through barter or exchange using other government owned properties like residential or commercial land. This system makes it easier for the government to pay landowners fairly even when full cash payment isn't possible. Expropriation of private agricultural lands. If the landowner refuses to sell, or if there's no agreement on the price or payment, the government can start an expropriation process. This means the government can legally take the land for public use, but still give the landowner fair compensation through the court. While the case is ongoing, the landowner is given an annual allowance based on his income from the land. This ensures farmers to both the government and the landowner.
Possession of the land and its procedure. This means Once the administration starts the expropriation case, it may immediately take possession of the land. However, before doing so, it must first deposit with the court, either in the cash or through a certificate of deposit from a government depository, an amount equal to the provisional value of the land. This value is quickly determined by the court based on certain factors stated in the law. After this deposit, the court will continue following the regular procedures for expropriation or eminent domain cases as provided in the rules of court. While the expropriation case is still ongoing, the landowner will receive an annual allowance. This allowance is based on the owner's most recent income tax return, showing their net income from the land before the case started. The court must approve this allowance, and once the final payment or compensation for the land is determined, the allowance already given will be deducted from that total amount.
Prohibition against alienation. This means that once a petition for land expropriation or acquisition has been filed, the landowner is not allowed to sell, transfer, or dispose of any part of the land unless it follows the rules under this act. The landowner also cannot make any agreement or contract that would go against the purpose of this law. Additionally, no one can file an ejectment case or try to remove any tenant or occupant from the land while the petition is still being processed. This rule stays in effect until it is confirmed that the land will not be taken or acquired by the administration.
So let's move forward to the last topic about resale of lands purchased or expropriated subject to condition. This means that when lands are bought or expropriated by the government and then resold or subdivided, there are certain conditions that must be followed. It is stated in all resale contracts and also written or annotated on the torrents titles that these lands cannot be sold, subdivided, transferred, or used as collateral without the prior approval of the administration. Also, these lands can only be transferred or sold to qualified farmers or tenants, or through government banking institutions or agencies. This condition ensures that the lands go to the right people who will use them for agricultural purposes and not for profit or speculation.